Hello, I'm Ellen Horan, President and CEO of the Greater Reading Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and I'm here for this week's Member Spotlight with Deb Soule. She's founding partner of the Drawing Board Graphic Design Studio. Welcome, Deb.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thanks. You know, our members, and anybody that watches these, my dad even watches them, he tells me, they like to hear people's story. And like so many of our members, you started your business in the basement. For some, it's a garage, back in 1985. What inspired you to start your own business?
Well, it was something that I always wanted to do. Since I graduated from college, I always kind of wanted to have my own business. And the opportunity came along when I met my partner. We both worked at the same place. And she was kind of working part-time and also doing a little freelancing. And we collaborated on a couple projects, and I had some connections and she had some connections. So we said, well, why don't we try it? So we tried it.
Good. So when did you decide it was time to move out of the basement?
We were only in her house for a year.
Okay.
And then we got the opportunity to sublet a space from some architects who were renting space here in downtown. And so we rented the 4th floor with no elevator. And we were there for 3 years. We rented the space for 3 years from them. And then we started looking around for our own place. And we purchased our building where we still are today at 526 Walnut Street.
Perfect. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about the range of services that the Drawing Board does?
Well, we started out strictly as graphic designers, but over the years our business has evolved. And now we offer advertising and marketing, public relations, web design, social media strategy, pretty much all the advertising services.
Right. So when you started, it was really before the PC was there.
Yes, it was. We did everything by hand. We sat at drawing tables, which is how we came up with our name.
Right.
So everything was, cut and paste and draw with markers and pens and things like that.
And not cut and paste like we think of today.
No, actually literally cutting and pasting, yes.
Yeah.
So, but then along came the computer age and we kind of had to adapt on the fly because it's nothing any of us had been trained in up to that point.
Right.
So,
you were one of the pioneers.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. It was a challenging time because, having to learn something while still running the business and so forth. And the same thing when we started out, just doing, graphic design on computers. And then, our client said, well, can't you do web design? And that was another whole different thing we had to learn.
Right.
So,
now, I know you've expanded your staff, that you're now a staff of 5.
Yes.
All women.
Yes.
Coincidentally, I'm sure.
Yes, coincidentally, yes.
Did you add people as volume increased, or as you saw you needed different skill sets brought into the business?
It was some of each. Some of our staff was added as we got busier, and it's like, hey, we need another designer. It's not going to be enough with just 2 of us being a designer anymore, so we added a 3rd designer. And then I used to do my own accounting and that kind of stuff, and it's like I didn't have time to do that, so then we added a staff position for someone to handle that aspect. And then in the last case, our most recent hire was for public relations position. And that was a service we had been offering a little bit, and we decided we wanted to offer more. And so we hired a person for that.
Okay. Now, do you have a niche? Is there a certain type of business that you would consider your sweet spot?
Not really. We mostly dealt with the professional services a lot, banking, healthcare, some manufacturing. So I wouldn't say there's one specific area that we've concentrated on.
Right. Now, as business owners, both the 2 founders, you're the designers.
We're also designers, yes.
How do you balance the business development component with also being one of the chief producers?
Well, a lot of our clients have actually liked it that they get to talk to the owner and the person who's going to work on their project at the same time. We never had a salesperson, so really they get to interact directly with the people that are producing the work. And, sometimes it can be a little challenging trying to balance everything and get everything, some things are more fun than others. I'd rather sit and design all day, but unfortunately I can't do that.
Right, right. Now, for small business, what would be some of your recommendations for how they should embrace social media and website? And they can't do everything at once. Do you have some advice for a smaller business on how do they get their foot in the door?
Well, I think a lot of times, a lot of smaller businesses think we can just do everything ourselves and that'll be great. And unfortunately, a lot of times people, are forming a perception about your business based on how you look. And if you have a poorly designed website, if you have a brochure that looks like you did it in Word or something, they tend to think that you're not capable of, producing and the kind of services that somebody wants. And so even though it's a stretch sometimes, and we always try and work, especially if it's a small business and they're just getting started, we try and give them, the best pricing we can because we'd like to see people succeed.
Right.
And sometimes we feel like they really do need some professional help and a professional look.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Anyone that has a design software program, thinks they can do some level of it. And you can tell when things are done professionally.
Right.
I agree. Which is good. Now, one thing I noticed on your website is something I struggle with is the use of a blog. I haven't caught on to that. And, you read about it needs to be in your mix of your social media toolkit, but I struggle with that one. What is your advice on that?
Well, we decided to add a blog to our website, and, I just have to come up with topics. But really it's the same as having a conversation with anybody. I kind of look at a blog as sort of a little more informal, not a real professional polished paper, but just sort of my opinion about what's going on in advertising, things like that. And you keep it short and you keep it casual. I think people find that very interesting to read.
Good. How about geographically? Are you pretty much local in the business that you do?
We're I would say we're regional. We have clients down in the Philly area. We have some clients in New Jersey. We've always had clients in Berks County as well. But especially with the advent of the computer, it made it much easier for us.
You don't need to be there.
Right. You don't need to meet people and be there in person. It's easy to send them proofs and get approvals and things like that. So, so we're kind of regional.
Good. Well, I know you've been a chamber member for a long time, so thank you for that. And most of our business members of the chamber are small, and they're always looking for a local source for marketing assistance. So reach out to a fellow member if you are in need, and you have a great website that has some examples of your work and the range of what you do.
Okay.
So we encourage member-to-member interaction. So, and also you're a downtown location.
We are.
And
yes,
what are you thinking about things that are happening downtown?
I'm excited. We keep getting excited. We've been here for, over 20 some years and things come along, but I'm more excited now than I have been for quite some time. And I'm hoping things are really going to turn around for downtown.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's in the works. So thank you very much for being here today, and thank you for being a chamber member.
Well, thank you.